The preseason top 5 includes South Carolina and UCLA. Early season showdowns will reveal how stacked UConn really is.
Prime Field.
The UConn Huskies enter the season with a definitive title, number 1. The preseason AP poll granted them 27 of 31 first-place votes, a mandate that positions them as the team to beat. This distinction comes after a national championship season and carries the historical burden of a program seeking its 13th national title. The objective is clear: secure a repeat, but the pursuit of an encore will be defined by an early season gauntlet. The team must navigate a challenging non-conference schedule that features 11 opponents from the 2025 NCAA tournament field. The question is not simply if they can win, but how their established offensive flow and defensive pressure will match up against a national landscape that has already shifted. One built around noontime national powers and the reality of a post-Paige Bueckers era. These early high-stakes contests will be the crucial barometer for the Huskies' championship aspirations. The reigning champions' blueprint has been revised. After losing guard Paige Bueckers, who averaged 19.9 points per game in the 2024-25 season, UConn's offensive identity has changed. The Huskies will now rely on a blend of proven production and high-impact transfers. The returning core is anchored by forward Sarah Strong, who logged 16.4 points and 8.9 inching rebounds per game last season, and guard AZ Fudd at 13.6 points per contest. Their established roles will be critical for stability. Complementing the structure are significant additions: Sarah Williams, a transfer from Wisconsin, who posted 19.2 points per game, and Kaylee Heckel from USC. This new composition must compete against formidable reloadings across the sport. Num 2 South Carolina, last year's runner-up, leveraged transfers such as Tanaya Latson, a former 25.2 point per game scorer at Florida State. Meanwhile, number 3 UCLA is structured around the interior dominance of center Lauren Betts, who averaged 20.2 points. This shift in personnel for UConn will be immediately tested by opponents built on contrasting potent strengths. Historically, the UConn motion offense has been vulnerable to teams with athletic length and the ability to switch defensively. Last season's losses were all sustained against teams ranked in the AP Top 16, Notre Dame, USC, and Tennessee. This trend now faces an immediate test. The schedule structure offers little respite. Home games are split between Gampel Pavilion and Peoples Bank Arena in Hartford, with no more than a 3-game homestand all season. The road challenges begin early, featuring a Deck 13th matchup at number 18 USC. Though the Trojans lost superstar Juju Watkins to a season-ending injury, they still feature the nation's top recruiting class and veteran transfers, presenting a formidable test of UConn's readiness. Crucial non-conference games against number 13 Michigan on November 21st, number 15 Notre Dame on January 19th, and number 21 Iowa on December 20th will stress the Huskies' backcourt and defensive rotations. These matchups, whether on neutral courts or in stores, are vital for constructing a tournament resume worthy of a top seed. The competitive landscape is defined not only by the top few teams, but by conference depth. While UConn and last year's runner-up, South Carolina, establish a clear top 2 dynamic, the AP Top 10 is dominated by the Southeastern Conference. The SEC boasts 5 teams within the top 10, signaling an immense reservoir of talent and potential tournament challenges. The focus for UConn must remain on navigating the challenging non-conference slate, which includes scheduled games against Louisville, Ohio State, Michigan, Utah, USC, and Iowa. Winning this rigorous series of games with minimal losses is the direct path to securing the number 1 overall seed. A few key losses, however, could drop the Huskies to a number 2 or number 3 seed, a circumstance the program faced in 2024, setting up a potentially treacherous regional bracket later in the season. Across the sport, the championship narrative has already been dramatically shaped by injury. USC's projection as a certain number 1 seed for the 2025 tournament vanished when Juju Watkins tore her ACL. Similarly, South Carolina is managing an injury concern to forward Ashlyn Watkins. UConn's own recent injury history is a constant variable, with stars like AZ Fudd and Paige Bueckers having suffered major season-ending injuries in recent seasons. The program is already monitoring minor preseason ailments for guard Ashlyn Shade and center Jana El Alfi. though Shade is anticipated to be available for the opener. Conversely, the return of key players from injury at rival programs has intensified the competition. The return of Lauren Betts at UCLA and Maddie Westbeld at Notre Dame have elevated their respective championship potentials, further crowding the top of the polls. The health of the roster will be a silent yet powerful factor in the team's ability to maintain pressure. The goal for UConn is to solidify their position as the number 1 overall seed, a status that ensures the most favorable path through the NCAA tournament. The rigorous schedule is designed to test them, and successfully navigating it is the only way to guarantee this advantage. The alternative is a difficult road. Falling to a lower seed, such as a number 2 or number 3, carries immediate risks. This was exemplified in the 2025 tournament when seeding relegated a potential UConn versus USC matchup to the Elite 8 round, rather than the Final Four. A slight drop in seeding can transform a regional bracket, placing elite opponents in earlier rounds and exponentially increasing the difficulty of reaching the final weekend. Every early season game against a ranked opponent will therefore carry direct weight on the final bracket structure. The early season matchups are more than isolated games. They are narrative-defining moments. The performances in these contests will not only influence the Huskies' seeding, but will also establish the national perception of their championship medal. Can the new-look roster, without its most recent headliner, maintain the program's signature offensive flow against the athletic length of teams like Michigan, or the interior dominance of a team like UCLA? Can the guard play hold up against the pressure rotations of Notre Dame? The constant travel, minimal homestands, and the immediate presence of elite opponents define the task ahead. UConn's pursuit of a 13th national title demands they perform consistently against the nation's best, establishing a top-tier resume before the postseason begins. The UConn Huskies enter the season as the defending champions, built around a new core of returning veterans and high-impact transfers. They face a gauntlet of early tests designed to expose any weakness in their transition. The performances against Louisville, Ohio State, Michigan, Utah, USC, and Iowa will decisively shape their final seeding and the eventual difficulty of their path through the NCAA tournament. Success in this phase solidifies the number 1 position. Failure risks a treacherous regional bracket. Ultimately, this challenging schedule will test the team's depth and their championship temperament. The early season narrative will ultimately define their quest for a 13th national title.
Prime Field.